The fossil exists 60 million years old, 42 feet long. For decades, paleontologists thought they understood prehistoric snakes, size limits, hunting strategies, habitat requirements. But researchers started finding vertebrae in Colombia that shattered every model. A snake weighing over a ton, living in tropical swamps, crushing prey the size of crocodiles. When scientists reconstructed the skeleton, the biology made no sense, the metabolism was impossible, and the ecosystem. Stay until number 1. Even after 15 years of research, paleontologists can't explain how Titanoboa survived in temperatures that should have killed it. 2009, Cerrejón Coal Mine, Northern Colombia. Paleontologists excavating Paleocene-epoch deposits, rocks dating to 58 million years ago, discovered fossilized vertebrae unlike anything in the snake fossil record. The size was staggering, each vertebra the width of a dinner plate, dozens of them spanning nearly 13 meters, 42 feet. This wasn't just a large snake. It was the largest snake ever documented, weighing over 1,000 kilograms, more than a ton, living just 10 million years after the dinosaurs went extinct. They named it Titanoboa cerrejonensis, the Titan boa from Cerrejón. But 15 years after its discovery, major questions remain unanswered. How did it grow so large? What did it eat? How did its metabolism function? And most critically, how did it survive in temperatures that modern biology says should have been lethal? Tonight, 7 mysteries about Titanoboa that science still can't solve. Starting with the most basic question, how did it actually move? Titanoboa stretched 42 feet long and weighed over a ton. For comparison, modern green anacondas, the largest living snakes, reach 30 feet and weigh around 200 kilograms. Here's the problem: we have no biomechanical model for how a snake this massive could move efficiently on land. Modern large constrictors use lateral undulation, pushing their body in S-curves against the ground to generate forward motion. But this requires significant muscular force. The larger the snake, the more energy required. Titanoboa's mass would have created immense friction with the ground. Moving through dense rainforest vegetation would have required extraordinary muscular power. Dr. Jason Head from the University of Nebraska and Dr. Jonathan Block from the Florida Museum of Natural History led the team that described Titanoboa in 2009. Their biomechanical analysis suggested Titanoboa was primarily aquatic, spending most of its time in water where buoyancy reduced the energy cost of movement. But the Cerrejón fossil site shows evidence of seasonally flooded swamps. What happened during dry seasons? How did Titanoboa move between water bodies? Some researchers propose it used rectilinear locomotion, moving in a straight line by contracting muscles along its belly. But this is slow, inefficient, and no modern snake this large uses it as a primary movement mode. Crocodiles were abundant in Paleocene Colombia. If Titanoboa was slow on land, it would have been vulnerable, yet it survived and thrived. 15 years after discovery, we still don't know how Titanoboa moved efficiently enough to hunt, migrate, and avoid predators on land. The fossil shows it existed, biomechanics can't explain how. Modern anacondas eat caimans, capybaras, deer, and fish. They're ambush predators that can go months between meals because their metabolism is slow. Titanoboa lived in a tropical swamp ecosystem alongside massive turtles, crocodilians, and lungfish. Fossil evidence from Cerrejón shows turtle shells with crushing damage consistent with constrictor attacks. But here's the mystery: how often did Titanoboa need to eat? A snake weighing 1,000 kilograms has vastly different metabolic needs than a 200-kilogram anaconda. The scaling isn't linear. Modern reptile metabolism studies suggest a 1-ton snake would need to consume massive amounts of food regularly. But how regularly? Weekly, monthly, quarterly? And what happened if prey was scarce? Could Titanoboa survive extended fasting like modern large snakes? Or did its massive size require more consistent food intake? Dr. Carlos Jaramillo from the Smithsonian Tropical Research Institute has studied the Cerrejón ecosystem extensively. His work shows the environment was incredibly productive, a lush rainforest with abundant prey. But even in productive ecosystems, predators face lean periods. How did Titanoboa survive those times? Some researchers propose Titanoboa hunted opportunistically, consuming anything it could overpower: turtles, crocodiles, large fish, even other snakes. Others suggest it was a specialist predator, targeting specific prey. We have fossilized turtle shells with damage. We have crocodilian remains in the same deposits, but we have no direct evidence of Titanoboa gut contents or feeding traces. 15 years later, we still don't know what Titanoboa ate most often, or how much it needed to survive. Modern constrictors are ambush predators. They lie motionless, waiting for prey to approach. Then they strike, coil around the victim, and apply crushing pressure. Did Titanoboa use the same strategy? Here's the complication. Ambush hunting works best when the predator is camouflaged and motionless. A 42-foot snake is not easy to hide. Some paleontologists propose Titanoboa hunted primarily in water, using murky swamp conditions for concealment. It would lie submerged near riverbanks or lake edges, waiting for prey to drink or wade in. This matches modern anaconda behavior, but anacondas are 30 feet long, not 42. The scaling changes everything. Could Titanoboa have been an active hunter, moving through the swamp in search of prey? That would require enormous energy expenditure for an animal this size. Another possibility, Titanoboa hunted at night. Many modern snakes are nocturnal, using heat-sensing pits to detect warm-blooded prey. But we don't know if Titanoboa had heat-sensing organs. The fossil record doesn't preserve soft tissue like facial pits. And if Titanoboa hunted in water, how did it deal with its own buoyancy while constricting prey? Modern anacondas solve this by wrapping around prey and anchoring themselves to underwater vegetation or rocks. But at over a ton, Titanoboa's mass would create different hydrodynamic challenges. One of the most debated questions, did Titanoboa hunt crocodilians? The Sarajon deposits contain remains of Sarajonosuchus and Acrontissuchus, crocodile relatives reaching 16 feet long with powerful jaws and armored skin. Could Titanoboa overpower an armored predator that size? Modern anacondas occasionally kill caimans, but the size matchup is closer. Titanoboa versus a 16-foot crocodilian is a different equation. Some researchers believe Titanoboa primarily hunted turtles, slower, less dangerous prey with shells that could be crushed by constriction. Others argue Titanoboa was an apex predator capable of killing anything in its ecosystem. We know it hunted, we don't know how often, or what it preferred. All modern snakes reproduce by laying eggs or giving live birth. The largest living snakes, anacondas and pythons, both reproduce, but in different ways. Green anacondas give live birth to litters of 20 to 40 offspring. Reticulated pythons lay clutches of 20 to 60 eggs. What did Titanoboa do? If Titanoboa laid eggs, where did it nest? Snake eggs require stable temperatures and humidity to develop. A 1-ton snake laying eggs would need a massive, secure nesting site. Modern pythons coil around their eggs to regulate temperature through muscular contractions. Could Titanoboa do this? The energy cost would be enormous. If Titanoboa gave live birth, how many offspring? Larger snakes generally produce more offspring, but there are limits. The mother must carry developing embryos while still hunting and surviving. A 1-ton female Titanoboa carrying 30 or 40 developing offspring, each potentially several feet long at birth, would be enormously burdened. And here's an even deeper mystery. How did baby Titanoboas survive? Juvenile snakes are vulnerable to predation. A baby Titanoboa might be 6 to 8 feet long at birth, large by modern standards, but still vulnerable to adult crocodilians and large predatory fish. Modern anacondas lose many offspring to predation. Titanoboa likely faced the same challenge. Some researchers speculate Titanoboa had relatively few offspring, but invested more energy in each one, producing larger, more capable juveniles with better survival rates. Others propose Titanoboa laid massive clutches and relied on sheer numbers to ensure some offspring survived. We have adult Titanoboa fossils. We have vertebrae showing growth patterns, but we have no nests, no eggs, and no confirmed juvenile specimens. 15 years later, Titanoboa's reproductive strategy remains completely unknown. Titanoboa lived between 60 and 58 million years ago during the Paleocene epoch. Then it disappeared from the fossil record. Why? The Paleocene was a hothouse world. Global temperatures were significantly warmer than today. Tropical rainforests extended to the poles. This warmth allowed Titanoboa to grow so large. But around 56 million years ago, Earth experienced the Paleocene thermal maximum, a period of extreme warming that lasted about 100,000 years. Paradoxically, this warming may have killed Titanoboa. Dr. Jason Head's research suggests Titanoboa was already living near the upper thermal tolerance for reptiles. If temperatures increased beyond a critical threshold, Titanoboa's metabolism would have failed. Reptiles cannot regulate their internal temperature like mammals. If the environment becomes too hot, they overheat and die. Another possibility, ecosystem changes. The Paleocene-Eocene boundary saw significant shifts in vegetation and prey availability. If Titanoboa's food sources declined or changed, it may not have adapted fast enough. Competition could have played a role. Early crocodilians were diversifying rapidly during this period. If crocodiles became more efficient predators, they may have outcompeted Titanoboa for resources. Climate cooling is another hypothesis. After the Paleocene-Eocene thermal maximum, global temperatures gradually declined. Cooler conditions would have reduced Titanoboa's metabolic rate, making it harder to hunt and survive. Some researchers propose Titanoboa didn't go extinct globally. It simply became rarer and eventually disappeared as environments changed. The fossil record from the Eocene, the epoch after the Paleocene, shows smaller, more modern-looking boid snakes. These snakes may have been Titanoboa's descendants, evolved to survive in changing conditions. But we don't know for sure. The fossil record has a gap. Titanoboa appears suddenly in the Paleocene, thrives for a few million years, then vanishes. What killed the largest snake ever known? 15 years later, we're still guessing. Modern anacondas kill by constriction. They coil around prey and tighten with each breath the victim takes. The pressure doesn't crush bones, it cuts off blood flow to the brain, causing rapid unconsciousness and death. How much force did Titanoboa generate? Dr. Jason Head's team estimated Titanoboa could exert around 400 pounds per square inch of pressure. That's enough to crush a human ribcage instantly. But here's the complication. Those calculations are based on scaling up from modern snakes, and scaling isn't straightforward. Modern constrictors have optimal prey size ranges. An anaconda can successfully kill prey roughly equal to its own body diameter. Too large and the snake can't generate sufficient coil pressure. Too small and the prey escapes the coils. What was Titanoboa's optimal prey size? A 42-foot snake weighing over a ton has a massive body diameter, potentially 24 to 30 inches at its widest point. That means Titanoboa could theoretically constrict prey with a body thickness of 2 feet or more. That includes large crocodilians, giant turtles, and massive lungfish found in the Sarajon fossil deposits. But could Titanoboa generate enough force? Modern research shows constriction force depends on muscle cross-sectional area and leverage. Titanoboa's sheer size would provide massive leverage, but the scaling becomes complex. Additionally, constricting prey underwater creates different mechanical challenges. Water resistance, buoyancy, and the need to maintain grip while submerged all affect constriction efficiency. Some researchers propose Titanoboa hunted in shallow water, where it could anchor part of its body on the bottom while constricting prey at the surface. Others suggest Titanoboa dragged prey underwater and drowned them, using weight and constriction together. We know modern anacondas can kill caimans weighing 200 pounds. We know Titanoboa was 5 times larger. But we don't know the upper limit of its constriction force. We don't know how it compensated for prey struggling in water. And we don't know if there were prey animals too large or too armored for Titanoboa to kill. The mechanics are unsolved. The fossil doesn't preserve muscle tissue or evidence of constriction behavior. We know Titanoboa crushed prey, we can't model exactly how. This is the biggest mystery, the one that challenges our understanding of reptile physiology. Modern reptiles have upper thermal limits. When environmental temperatures exceed around 40 degrees Celsius, 104 Fahrenheit, most reptiles experience heat stress, their proteins denature, their metabolism fails, they die. The Paleocene tropics, where Titanoboa lived, were significantly hotter than modern tropics. Estimates suggest average temperatures range from 32 to 34 degrees Celsius, 90 to 93 Fahrenheit, with peaks potentially exceeding 40 degrees. Dr. Jason Head's 2012 study used Titanoboa's size to back-calculate Paleocene temperatures. Large reptiles require warm environments to maintain high metabolic rates. Titanoboa's size suggested average temperatures were at least 30 to 34 degrees Celsius. But here's the paradox. Those temperatures are at or beyond the upper thermal tolerance of modern reptiles. How did Titanoboa avoid overheating? Some researchers propose Titanoboa spent most of its time in water. Water has higher thermal conductivity than air, allowing more efficient heat dissipation. By staying submerged, Titanoboa could regulate its body temperature. But snakes need to breathe. Titanoboa would have to surface regularly. And tropical water temperatures in the Paleocene would also have been warm, potentially 30 degrees Celsius or more. Another hypothesis, Titanoboa was active primarily at night. Nighttime temperatures would be slightly cooler, reducing heat stress. But nocturnal hunting limits feeding opportunities, and tropical nights in the Paleocene would still have been warmer than most modern environments. Some researchers suggest Titanoboa had physiological adaptations we can't detect in fossils, perhaps specialized circulatory systems, or unique protein structures resistant to heat damage. The most controversial hypothesis: maybe our temperature estimates are wrong. Maybe the Paleocene wasn't as hot as we calculate, but multiple independent proxies, leaf fossils, oxygen isotopes, and reptile body size all point to extreme warmth. Here's the fundamental question. Was Titanoboa living at the absolute physiological limit for reptiles? Or did it possess unknown adaptations that allowed survival in conditions that should have been lethal? 15 years after discovery, we still don't know. Titanoboa existed, the fossils prove it, but the biology that allowed its existence remains unexplained. 7 mysteries, 15 years of research, one of the most important fossil discoveries of the 21st century. And we still can't answer basic questions about how Titanoboa lived. How did it move efficiently on land? What did it eat and how often? How did it hunt armored prey in murky water? How did it reproduce in a tropical hothouse? Why did it go extinct after thriving for millions of years? How much constriction force could it generate? And most critically, how did it survive temperatures that modern biology says should have killed it? These aren't small questions. They're fundamental gaps in our understanding of vertebrate physiology, predator ecology, and the limits of reptile biology. The fossil record is incomplete. Titanoboa's soft tissues, muscles, organs, circulatory system don't preserve. We have bones, we have size, we have rough ecological context. But behavior, metabolism, thermal tolerance, those require living animals to study. And Titanoboa has been extinct for 58 million years. Every year brings new research. Biomechanical models become more sophisticated, climate proxies become more accurate, our understanding of reptile physiology deepens. But Titanoboa remains an outlier, an animal so large in an environment so extreme that our models keep breaking when we try to explain it. Maybe future fossil discoveries will provide answers: a nest site, gut contents, better preserved juveniles. Or maybe Titanoboa will remain one of paleontology's greatest mysteries, proof that life can exist under conditions we don't yet understand, evidence that the past contains biology beyond our current models. 7 mysteries remain unsolved. The fossils are real, the animal existed. We just can't explain how. If you want to keep exploring the creatures that break science's rules, subscribe. We're tracking discoveries that challenge everything we thought we knew. Thanks for watching.